what was meant to be sort of just a cursory overview of the history that surrounds Pentecost. It's kind of turned into something more problematic, and people are struggling with, some people are struggling with the understanding of early writings 277 and what that actually looks like at the end of the world. So maybe I was too optimistic to think that we could just sort of quickly look at it and come out, because people have got questions now. So I wanted to spend a bit more time. I want to go over that and make sure that we're all happy about the structure of that. So before we do that, let's go to another passage in early writings. So it's a few chapters before. They don't have chapter numbers. This is page 240, paragraph 1. 240, paragraph 1. It's the Advent Movement Illustrated. Paragraph 1, Advent Movement Illustrated. I think we should all be familiar, maybe we're not, that Early Writings is a compilation. It's published in 1882, and it's not a proper compilation in the sense that we would normally think of what a compilation is. What they did was they got a number of her earlier works and bound them all into a single volume. So it's mainly two books, Experience and Views and Spiritual Gifts, Volume 1. And there's an additional piece which is called a supplement, which was an explanation of some of her statements from Experience and Views. So it's three independent books really. And Spiritual Gifts Volume 1 is really the great controversy in a very condensed form. It goes from the very beginning to the very end. I don't know if we all know that. And it's basically all in sequential order. I think quite often you're going to see that Ellen White's writings are in sequential order, and we should be careful about taking them out of order. So if you go through it, it talks about the fall of Satan, the fall of man, plan of salvation, first advent, the ministry of Christ. And so there's a long section about the ministry of Christ. It then goes into the ministry of Paul and the apostles after the death of Christ. And speaks about the Reformation. She doesn't really focus upon the 1260, but there's an allusion to it. And then she comes to William Miller. So you're about halfway in the book by the time you come to William Miller. And then after William Miller, it's got First Angel's Message, Second Angel's Message, Advent Movement Illustrated, another illustration. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You've got 5 chapters that's dealing with Millerite history. So we're just going to look at the 4th of those 5th chapters. It's called the Advent Movement Illustrated. And we're going to look at this just so that we can glean a small piece of information about the first angel's message. Okay? So what I want us to see is that in 1798, it doesn't give you all the details like this, but in 1798 the first angel's message arrives. Sometime later, that first angel, the very same angel, begins to do a more comprehensive or a wider work, and you can see all of that illustrated in this chapter quite simply, I think. So what we're going to see is that the first angel essentially comes twice. And I think we will understand that this is 1798 and 1840. But what I want us to see, that this angel is the same as this angel. They're the same angel. It doesn't give the dates. We'd have to go elsewhere to search for those dates, but I just want us to see the structure here about the first angel so that we're sure about that. I saw a number of companies that seemed to be bound together by cords. Many in these companies were in total darkness. Their eyes were directed downward to the earth, and there seemed to be no connection between them and Jesus. But scattered through these different companies were persons whose countenances looked light, and whose eyes were raised to heaven. Beams of light from Jesus, like rays from the sun, were imparted to them. An angel bade me look carefully, and I saw an angel watching over every one of those who had a ray of light, while evil angels surrounded those who were in darkness. I heard the voice of an angel cry, "Fear God, give glory to him, for the hour of his judgment has come." We're going to come back and just break that down a little bit. But we can already see the last sentence, it's the introduction of the first angel's message. So we can see that. A glorious light then rested upon those companies to enlighten all who would receive it. Some of those who were in total darkness received the light and rejoiced. I just want to stop there. She mentions those who are in darkness. If you go back to the first paragraph, second sentence, it says many in these companies were in total darkness. So she mentions this concept or this symbol of darkness. Now when we draw a reform line, the way we normally do it is that we say that before the time of the end we have a period of darkness. You agree with that? And then what do we say? So we just call this darkness, and then we don't talk about the darkness anymore. It's like, come 1798, the darkness ends. It all finishes. That's kind of normally how we portray it. So I'm going to say, we normally say it's darkness and light. And what's the logic for making this light? What kind of logic do we use? Loughborough used a similar logic. Not Loughborough. In Loughborough's work, when Bates writes down Ellen White's vision, she used a similar logic. Go speak loud.
It's an arising.
An arising.
Yeah. Increase of knowledge.
Increase of knowledge. So we use this concept of increase of knowledge, but in that vision, she basically uses this concept of the sun arising, which is where we picked up Revelation 7. So we pick up light, and we'll call it a gradual increase. So we go from the natural to the spiritual. We see the sun begins to rise here, a rising of the sun, and it becomes more and more glorious until you get to 1840, and what do you have? Glorious manifestation of the power of God. We already read something along those lines. So we kind of do this, and we say from 1798, the darkness was dispelled, all done away with, and there was just light all the way through. Are we okay with that? Has that been a summary of what we normally consider a reform line to look like? Yeah? So I'm going to this passage here. It's one of the earliest commentaries on the reform line that we have, one of the primary ones. And you're going to see that she says it in a different way. So we're going to go back to the beginning. I saw a number of companies that seemed bound together by cords. Many in these companies were in total darkness. So the total darkness is here. This is pre-1798. We're not going to go through and break down this passage. Otherwise we'd be here for a long time. So I'm going to tell you my understanding. If you disagree, then speak and we'll discuss it. But if you don't disagree, I'm not going to ask you to explain it. So just changing the dynamics of this class a little bit. I'm just telling you what I think. If you disagree, then we can talk about it. But I'm not going to ask you what you think. Okay? So I'm saying that the first part of the paragraph Paragraph 1 is here. This is 240, paragraph 1. I saw a number of companies. I'm going to ask the question here. What is a company in this context? I want company equals. Let's try and be quick, because we'll end up spending the whole class doing this, and I want to avoid doing that. Company equals. Someone just shout out. Sorry? Movement. Churches. Someone else said something? Okay, so I want to call them denominations. Or, as my brother says, churches. So, do we know that pre-1798 there are lots of churches? Yeah, or lots of denominations. Lutherans, Baptists, Presbyterians. That's what I think this is speaking about. It says, I saw that a number of companies that seem to be bound together. So you've got companies, and what are the conditions of the companies? All the companies are bound together. So I just want to try and illustrate that. So I'm going to do it in the imagery of agriculture. So I've got a number of shocks of wheat. This would be a company, because they're all together. Then we've got another company, and it says that each one of these companies are all bound together. And maybe we could put, maybe I'll put a third one here. Are we okay with that? Individual companies all bound together. If you're bound together, what does the binding together mean? What does it mean if you're bound together? What's that symbolizing? Sorry? Some kind of unity. So the companies are bound together because they're a company, and then all the companies are bound together. So they're bound together by some kind of ideology or some kind of idea. I'm going to suggest some kind of doctrine. Yeah? Or someone has bound them all together. So who would have bound them all together by this common ideology? Sorry? The mother. We'll go with the papacy. If we're okay with that. It says many in the companies were in darkness. If it says many, what does that mean? It means not all. Okay, so not everyone is in darkness. So that's not what we normally talk about. We normally talk, it's a period of darkness, like everyone's in darkness. But she says no. In each company, I'll just show one. In each company, there's someone who is not in darkness, which means they must be in light. If you're okay with that? Their eyes were directed downwards. That's the people who are in darkness, and there seemed to be no connection between them and Jesus. So Jesus is in heaven, these people are on earth. If you're in darkness, the many, there's no connection between you and Jesus. But scattered through these different companies were persons whose countenances looked light and whose eyes were raised to heaven. So you've got two groups of people in this history. Everyone's in a period of darkness. Most people are not connected to Jesus, they're looking to earth. There are individuals who are scattered through the companies, so I just highlighted it, one person in each company, whose countenance is light and they're looking upward to heaven. Beams of light beams of light from Jesus, like rays from the sun, were imparted to them. So they looked light before, and now what's happening? Now light is going to come. So I'm saying we've come to 1798, and now light is going to be imparted. Imparted means to be given, and it means given something that you don't already have. What do they already have? They already had light. I want to read this carefully. But scattered through these different companies were persons whose countenances looked like light. I don't want to spend a long time looking at this passage. The next sentence, beams of light like Jesus were imparted to them. Who's them? It's a pronoun, so you have to go back. And I'm saying the people who are the them are the persons in the previous sentence. Are we okay with that? Yeah? So the only people who receive light here are people who had light before. Their countenances were light before, and now they're going to receive or have light imparted to them. Imparted means to be given something that you don't already have. So their countenances are light, but they don't have this light, which is about to be given to them. So as I say, if you don't agree, say. So there's light that's been given, and I'm saying that light is light from heaven in 1798. An angel bade me look carefully, and I saw an angel watching over every one of those who had a ray of light, while evil angels surrounded those who were in darkness. I heard the voice of an angel cry, "Fear God, give glory to him, for the hour of his judgment is come." So we know that the voice is 1798. I'm saying there's first light and then there's voice. And both of these are symbols of the same thing. So I'm saying the light equals the voice. Every one of those who had received the light, that's fine. What about all the rest of them? They're all in darkness. And what period are we in? We're already in the reform line. So I'm saying this darkness stretches all the way through, at least we're at this stage here. The darkness is still there, it doesn't leave. What you're going to see if you read through this whole chapter, which we're not going to, the whole line, a whole reform line, is a reform line of darkness. And what happens is that light begins to do what? Okay, so I didn't give you the word, but that's the word I was looking for. This light begins to penetrate, and it begins to penetrate more and more. You can see this in other chapters from Ellen White. So I'm suggesting that from one of her earliest models of the reform line, it's not the way we portray it. We portray it in this very simplistic fashion that there's darkness and there's light, like there's no darkness left. And I'm saying the whole reform line is full of darkness. All that's happening is light begins to penetrate or punctuate or break through this darkness in an increasing fashion. So, paragraph 1, first angel's message comes, it's portrayed as light, then a voice, and who is receiving that light? Those who had the light or had light countenances before. So I'm going to do this. These 3 people who were in different companies but they were bound together, they're the only ones that are going to receive this light. So one thing that we want to, the clearest thing that I see from this is the people who were selected here, who received the first angel's message, have an experience with God before the time of the end. They're not just picked out of random. Next paragraph. A glorious light then rested down upon these companies to enlighten all who would receive it. Some of those who were in darkness received the light and rejoiced. Others resisted the light from heaven, saying that it was sent to lead them astray. The light passed away from them, and they were left in total darkness. So we'll stop there. What's that teaching us? When the first angel's message arrives, when this light is imparted, who's it imparted to?
These companies.
I'm saying no. I'm saying it's only imparted to the individuals who had light. That's the first paragraph. Now into the second paragraph. Once that's happened, it says, a glorious light then, I'm saying then is sequential, rested upon these companies. So now we've got the companies in this history. And now what's happening? We've got further light. So it's the next phase. Then this light's now resting upon whom? So we can say everybody. Okay. So first it's only these people, and now it's everyone. You can see that? First it's the individuals, now it's everyone. So here, who has an opportunity of receiving the first angel's message?
Everyone.
At the beginning, here. Only a select few, the ones who had light. Now, everyone has the opportunity to receive light. And even if we just assume it at this level, what would be the light that they have an opportunity to receive? Sorry? What would be the light that... The light here was the first angel's message. What's the light here? I'm saying it's the first angel's message. We can assume that it's the same light. These people had the opportunity, now everyone has an opportunity. You'll see that she's going to say that. If you rejected this light now, what happens to it? The light passed away from them and they were left in total darkness. Those who had received light from Jesus joyfully cherished the increase of precious light which was shed upon them. Their faces beamed with holy joy while their gaze was directed upward to Jesus with intense interest, and their voices were heard in harmony with the voice of the angel. Fear God, give glory to him, for the hour of his judgment is come. What's just happened now? When the light comes, if you rejected the light, everyone has an opportunity. Now you're left in total darkness. But if you accepted the light, then more people have received this light. If we're okay with that. So we've run out of board space, but I'm going to do this. Now there's more people who have received the light. The numbers have increased. All the others are in darkness. Each person in the companies, so more people in each of those companies now received the light. Are we okay with that? Then it says, those who had received the light from Jesus joyfully cherished the increase of precious light. So there's been an increase of light. I'm saying it's the same light. There was light at the beginning for the select few. Then everybody received light. Most people reject it. Some people accept it. So there's this increase of light. There's more light. Hence this increase of knowledge. Their faces beamed with holy joy, while their gazes were directed upward to Jesus with intense interest, and their voices were heard in harmony with the voice of the angel. So now you have the angel coming down here at the beginning. He just speaks to these people, and now later on, when you've got more people, what happens? The people are saying the same thing as the angel. We can see that. So there's a harmony of the human and the divine, if I express it that way. The voices of the humans are joining the voices of the angel. As they raised this cry, I saw those who were in darkness. We'll stop there where I was. So can we see that the first angel is still saying the same thing? But now all that's happened is people have joined him. Now I'm not trying to break down all the symbology and say that who the angel is or who it isn't, because parables are not that straightforward to work out. You have to give them some license. But if we were to break this down in the simple way that we normally understand it, first angel's message, this message is given to Miller. There's an increase of knowledge, and then it goes worldwide. Huge numbers join the movement, and they join Miller in the first angel's message. I'm saying all that is being portrayed in the imagery here on her. I think it's basically the first explanation of or she doesn't call it reform line, of how the Millerite line works. When I say the first, obviously this is the fourth of 5 stories about the Millerite movement. It's Miller, first angel's message, second angel's message, Advent movement illustrated, and then another illustration. So it's the fourth of 5, if you're okay with that. And what I'm seeing here, hopefully we can all see it, is that the first angel's message comes down, speaks to a select group of people, and then later on, as more people receive the light because they have an opportunity, then the first angel is still speaking, and now people have joined him and they're working in harmony with him. Are we okay with all of that? Yeah? I'm going to jump down a little bit. 241, paragraph 1. I saw those who cherished the light looking upward with ardent desire, expecting Jesus to come and take them to himself. Before we read on, you can create a whole reform line from this chapter, and she gives you no dates. All she just gives you is symbology. So if you're familiar with how reform lines work and the history of the Millerites, you can plug in all the dates. It's all there to see. So I've skipped a bit of information. And what you'll see if you go back and looked afterwards, what I've skipped is the work of the enemies. So I've not discussed the work of the enemies. I saw those who cherished the light looking upward with ardent desire, expecting Jesus to come and take them to himself. Soon a cloud passed over them, and their faces were sorrowful. I inquired the cause of this cloud, and was shown that it was their disappointment. So where are we now? So we're in 1843, April. If you know the reform line, you can see it already in this language. The time when they expected their Saviour had passed, and Jesus had not come. As discouragement settled upon the waiting ones, the ministers and leading men, who I had before noticed, rejoiced, and all those who had rejected the light. What light have they rejected? First angel's message. This was the rejection here that we spoke about. As I say, I've skipped some paragraphs. Triumphed greatly, while Satan and his evil angels exalted. So we're here a bit further down, and the time when Jesus was about to come has passed. So this is April the 19th, 1844, if we can see that. All the people that are in darkness, it says the ministers and the leading men, they're all happy, and the people who had received the light earlier on, who were expecting Jesus, obviously they're all sad. There's a cloud that passes over them. That cloud is a symbol of their disappointment. Next paragraph. Then I heard the voice of another angel saying, Babylon is fallen, is fallen. So as soon as the disappointment comes, then we have the second angel. Are we okay with that? A light shone upon those desponding ones, and with ardent desires for his appearing, they again fixed their eyes upon Jesus. So a number of angels conversing with the one who had cried. So we'll stop there. So now what happens in April 44, what did they receive? More light. I want to go back. What's the first thing that she says? Then she hears a voice. After she hears the voice, they hear the voice. Then I heard the voice of another angel saying, Babylon is fallen. Then what do you see? A light. So what have we just created? Light, voice, voice, light. So we've created a chiasm, and that chiasm is going to help to direct and fix the first and second angel's messages. So you know that the light was the voice, and you know that the voice is the light. So I'm saying they're synonymous terms, and it helps to create a structure, a nice structure for this line. So this light that's coming upon them, obviously he's going to do what? It's going to dispel this cloud. Okay? So things are starting to change now. A light rested upon those desponding ones, and with ardent desires for his appearing, they again fixed their eyes upon Jesus. So there's something about the second angel's message which is positive, which is beyond Babylon is fallen, because if you just took the words, can you see any hope for these people who were expecting Jesus? There's no hope. All they're saying is, you people have gone back to Satan or something, or you're falling away to Satan. You've gone back to Babylon, and there's no indication that there's anything about time, there's anything about, okay, we know that there was a mistake. So tucked into or buried into the second angel is more information than just the words. I want us to see that. I saw a number of angels conversing with the one who had cried, Babylon is fallen. So you've got the singular angel, Babylon is fallen, and now what's been introduced says a number of angels start talking with him. And these united with him in the cry, behold the bridegroom cometh, go ye out to meet him. So who are these angels that have just come? So we call this the midnight cry. It's other angels, and they say 25, what verse is that? It's verse 6. At midnight there was a cry made, behold the bridegroom cometh. So that's 25:6. It says, and these united with him in the cry, behold the bridegroom cometh, go ye out to meet him. So now I want to ask you a question. No, before we do that, can we see that the structure of the first angel and the second angel is different? That's the first thing I want us to see. The first angel, when he came, it said an angel came, there was a light and a voice, and then it says later on, those people join the first angel, and they gave the message, fear God, give him glory. They said the same thing. So here and here, it's the first angel only. People join him. That's how she portrays it. When you come to this one, it's different. This one, it says, this angel singular came down, behold the bridegroom cometh, and then she says other angels started speaking with him, and then these other angels said, behold the bridegroom cometh. Are we okay with that to see? Even if we don't know what it means, I'm not saying I fully understand or even understand what it means, but I want us to see that there's a difference between the first and second angel's messages. They don't have the same characteristics. These people... Okay, so let's just go through the imagery. What do we have here in 1798? We have one angel. Then what do we have later on? I'm calling it 1840. Then what do we have? We have one angel plus people. Are we okay with that? Here, what do we have? We have one angel, and what do we have here? We have one angel plus a number of angels. Okay, I want to come back to this, but I just want to read on because we're going to have a bit more information. The musical voices of these angels seemed to reach everywhere. An exceeding bright and glorious light shone around those who had cherished the light which had been imparted to them. What light is this? This is the light of the second angel. If we just follow on through, are we okay with that? It's this light here, the light of the second angel. An exceeding bright and glorious light shone around those who had cherished the light which had been imparted to them. So there was light and a voice here. Now what do we have? A glorious light. So we've got more light, and this light is glorious. Who received that light? An exceeding bright and glorious light shone around those who had cherished the light which had been imparted to them. So who received this glorious light? Those who received what? Someone says the first, and some people are saying the second. Okay, so let's go back to that sentence. I heard the voice of another angel saying, Babylon is fallen, is fallen. A light shone upon those desponding ones, and with ardent desires for his appearing, they again fixed their eyes on Jesus. So the light is here, and it's upon the people who are at this stage here, whoever they are. I saw a number of angels conversing with one who had cried, Babylon is fallen, and these united with him in the cry, behold, the bridegroom cometh. The musical voices of these angels seemed to reach everywhere. An exceeding bright and glorious light shone around those who had cherished the light which had been imparted to them. So my question is, what light is this one when it says those who cherish the light which has been imparted to them? It's this light here, I think, not this light. So it's this light here that's been portrayed, and it says the glorious light had been imparted to them who had received this light. If you're okay with that. So if you read through the rest of the passage, you'll see that there's never an opportunity of what happened here, because in this history, the first, when the light came to these people, just like the light came to the people here, then when the light came afterwards, who had an opportunity to receive it? Everyone did. But here she specifically says the more glorious light is only going to be given to those who had received this light. So there's differences between the first and the second. So to put it simply, in this history, if you didn't catch it here, you have an opportunity to. We can see that? Here, only those who receive the light here have an opportunity to receive this one. Not everybody does. She doesn't tell you, I mean, we normally know that there's a falling away here. You know, there are people who were part of the Advent movement who had received the light, who at the disappointment say, we knew it was all fake, and they leave the movement. Yeah? We already know that. But it doesn't quite portray that falling away, because she's making a different point here. But she is saying this. Those who received this message of Babylon is fallen, what else did they receive here when they received the voice and the light at this stage?
No exceeding bright light.
Not yet. They received the idea of Babylon is fallen, but what else happened to them? What experience did they have before they received the glorious light? The disappointment here is before the voice and the light. So they're disappointed, then the voice comes, then the light comes, and the voice says Babylon is fallen, which is all negative. But what does she add? I'll read it again. A light shone upon those desponding ones, and with ardent desires for his appearing, what did they do? They again fixed their eyes upon Jesus. And it says, with ardent desires for his appearing. What does that mean? Ardent desires for his appearing. Sorry? A great. Yeah, I'm not trying to say reword it. What would it mean if they have an ardent desire for his appearing? It means they're expecting.
They were already expecting, now they are expecting more.
So they're expecting his coming imminently or soon. They have an ardent desire. So they realise something's gone wrong, but they're no longer disappointed. So there's more information in the second angel's message than just Babylon is fallen. I just want us to see that. So I'm just reiterating what we said before. And it's only those people who not only receive Babylon is fallen, but they also have what? An ardent desire which is rekindled that Jesus is going to come back. Only those people are going to receive the glorious light. Can we see that? Why am I making that point? Because the second angel isn't just about how bad everybody is. It's also about a message of hope that everything is not lost and that things are going to work out well. In that history, were there people who are not in darkness here? They'd received the light of the first angel. When they received the cloud, did they receive this ardent hope that Jesus is about to return? They don't. They say, we knew it was all fake. We knew this message of time wasn't true. We knew that it was just going to be a secret rapture. So they walk away. Now, were they part of Babylon at that time? When they were making those decisions? They were not part of Babylon. They were part of the Advent movement. But I'm saying they haven't accepted the second angel's message. Because the second angel's message not only says those people are bad, it also gives you hope. If we don't see that point, we don't get an important aspect about the second angel. It's more than just Babylon is fallen. Have I said enough? Okay. Only those who had the ardent hope, who fixed their eyes upon Jesus. And by the way, when she says they're fixing their eyes upon Jesus, what does that mean? You're fixing your eyes upon Jesus. You're tracking him, aren't you? Yeah? If you're tracking him, you're seeing what his movements are, what he's doing, because you're expecting him to come. So I'm saying, fixing your eyes upon Jesus is a symbol or a code word for what? Expecting his coming. I'm saying that's a code word for a belief in the second advent. If you're willing to accept that, if you're willing to see that. So the second angel isn't just Babylon is fallen, it's we now have a certain hope that Jesus is coming again. Just like it was all from the very beginning. Their faces shone with excellent glory, and they united with the angels in the cry, behold, the bridegroom cometh. So you've got one angel, a number of angels, plus people. So we've got three groups now. You can see that? So first it's a single angel with the people. Now it's a single angel, number of angels and people. Even if we don't understand what that means, we can see there's something different. I want to go back and ask a question. Same paragraph, third sentence. I saw a number of angels conversing with the one who had cried, Babylon is fallen. So they're in this conversation, don't know what the conversation is, and these united with him in the cry, behold, the bridegroom cometh, go ye out to meet him. So I want to ask, when it says they united with him in the cry, we know what their cry is. Their cry is, behold, the bridegroom cometh. That's these angels here. What is the second angel saying in this part? Is the second angel saying, behold, the bridegroom cometh, and they're saying, is the second angel saying Babylon is fallen, and they're saying, behold, the bridegroom cometh, and they unite their voices? Or has the second angel changed his words? And before he was saying Babylon is fallen, now he says, behold, the bridegroom cometh, and they unite with him in that cry, and then the people unite. Do we see the two options? Here, he's on his own, and all he says is, behold, the bridegroom cometh. Has he changed his message? By the time you come to here, Babylon is fallen, he says Babylon is fallen. when you get to this stage, I'll say from the spring to the summer, has he changed his message to behold the bridegroom cometh, and then the other angels unite in that same message, and then the people unite? Or is he still saying Babylon is fallen, and they unite with their message, so that you have two different messages running concurrently?
He changes.
You think he changes his message?
Still retains his message.
He retains his message, so he's still saying Babylon is fallen, and they've just added their voice to him, so you've got two messages.
Me, I see like here, the message now changes, more or less like saying now, Babylon is fallen, but you come back to the midnight prayer.
So my question is, did the second angel change his message? You're saying yes. He stopped saying Babylon is fallen, and he starts saying behold the bridegroom cometh, and they unite with him. Yeah?
The same message.
He has the same message.
Like saying Babylon is fallen, or you're the bridegroom coming, the same message.
Oh, you're saying it's the same message? Yeah, but it's not the same message, it's different. It's not the same. It's not like this is the same message. You see, no, it's identical, there's no change in it. Fear God, give him glory, fear God, give him... She says it. They joined, they united with him in the message, fear God, give him glory. So you can see that. In this one, it's different. I'm not arguing... I think Brother Robert brought this point, or Brother Rogers, one of the two. When you go back to the line of the Persian kings, whether it's the first, second or third message, they all have this component of come out of Babylon. But they're all separate and distinct messages. The words are different, they're not the same. So I want to try and keep true to the words. I get the point that conceptually it's all the same. I mean, conceptually, we don't even have three angels or three messages. It's one group of people, and the whole point of everything is get ready because Jesus is coming. You could build that in all three messages, but we want to try and be careful about it because we can learn truth if we pay attention to the detail. So it's the detail that I want to pay attention to, and the detail says, he said Babylon, and they said bridegroom. And they're different messages, they're different words. And on top of that, this is Matthew 25. And Matthew 25 has no imagery about Babylon in there. It's talking about a wedding. So I want to try and hold us all to trying to be strict to the language and say that they're different messages. I'm not arguing that we can't encapsulate it all under the second. But if we just did it this way, is this angel and this angel the same angel? You'd agree with that? Because it says the angel. I think it says in the definite article. In this one, it says he ends up speaking with these angels. The imagery is two different groups. So if it's two different groups, I'm saying it must be two different messengers, two different messages. So we have a contention that here, when we pick up the word unite, because that's the only word she gives us, what we're seeing unite means is that number two angel changes his message, and they're all saying the same thing. About half of us are saying that, and the other half are saying, no, he says the same thing, but the others just unite with him, or join with him. Brother Robert?
The second, they unite.
They unite, so you've got two different messages. So the second holds his original message. He doesn't change. Okay, so Brother Paul?
They have the same message.
He doesn't change his message. Okay, give me your logic. Because it says in the passage, these united with him in the cry. it sounds to me when you unite with him, that means you're all singing the same song. And you're saying no, if they're not singing the same song, they're singing a different song, but they're just coming together at the same time. So what's your logic to say what you're saying? Time?
As when the person says, I saw a number of angels conversing with the one who cried. And then after I said, and this cried. So meaning I think they have me what to speak next.
Okay, so you're saying, so this is the story you're saying, these angels come down and say, look, your message was good, but now you need to say a different message, so you need to join us with this new message. That's what the conversation was. Okay? And I know people are smiling, but I think you could read that into that. I think you could have an argument and say, what are they talking about? They're saying, look, let's persuade you to this new way of thinking. That could be their conversation, because they're talking about something. Brother Rogers.
To me, I think
What's your argument?
the second angel still retains his message that is joined by these other angels who give the message of the cry. I think this is the same logic we were looking at yesterday about the third angel. Third angel is running through history. Another angel comes and he unites his voice with the voice of the third angel. But I don't think that the third angel stops saying, don't receive his image and the mark, and begin to say Babylon is fallen, is fallen. He's still retaining his message, but this other angel joins him to give power to his message.
So, there's a conversation, we don't know what the conversation is, and then it says, so let's read, and these united with him in the cry, behold the bridegroom cometh. So who says that he changes his message? Why do you say he changes his message? What do you see that he's changing his message? What's making you come to that conclusion?
Okay, in Matthew 25, verse 6, we don't see the word Babylon. It's called, but we see, behold the bridegroom coming. Then also, if we go to Revelation 18,
We go to where?
Revelation 18, we see the sequence also there. First was Babylon is fallen, and then when you follow down to verse 4, you see come out of my people. So I'm using that logic that the second angel came, and then he sounded the warning, announced that Babylon is now fallen. Therefore, what next? Like yesterday we were learning that the 4 people in the building, that building is already declared fallen. So, but that's not the end. There is still hope for those who will accept the message. So now the next step is to call them out of that building, or else they will be destroyed. So, what next? The others now are telling, behold the bridegroom coming. So come out of that, so they can be able to welcome the bridegroom.
Okay, so Matthew 25 is only one line. It's the line of marriage. It's not the line of cities. So that's why it wouldn't have Babylon. So you'd have to put another line on top of that. So that would be my argument against what you said, because your evidence was saying Matthew 25 is behold the bridegroom cometh, and I'm saying the reason is because it doesn't talk about Babylon. So I'm not sure how that becomes an argument.
According to the same voice of the same angel.
The same voice as which angel?
The second angel.
But you don't see that in Matthew 25. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, but we can just assume that to me.
By bringing another line on top of that, which is what we're doing. Ellen White's doing that for us. She's combined Matthew 25 with this, with Revelation 14. She's overlaid them. So I'm still asking for the evidence of why this Revelation 14 angel changes his voice, changes his message. Well, the evidence is that he's changing his message here.
Okay, my thinking is because now the declaration is made about Babylon, but now there is that hope that is being given to the people in Babylon that they need to come out from there. The end result of that message.
So he's done his work. He's finished his job. My brother?
May I say that he changed his message because the sentence says, and this united with him. If you're to unite with somebody, then you have to unite in his own idea, you don't bring your idea in.
Okay?
Yeah.
So how can we be united unless we be agreed? Yeah?
Yeah. So
Okay.
That conversation was there. But what I'm saying here is, if it was the second entity united with them, I mean, he accepted their message.
Yeah.
But here I'm seeing other angels uniting with him in another cry.
Okay, so that means he has to change his cry to be in unity with them. Okay, so I want to ask you a question then. How do you define an angel? Like number 2 angel or number 3 angel? How do you even know if an angel is number 3 angel or number 1 angel? How do you know that? If you looked at him, how would you know he's number 1 and not number 3? So you go to an airport and you come out and there's all these taxi drivers and someone's going to pick you up. How do you know who the one who's going to pick you up is? How do you know? He's raised a what? A placard. And then that placard has got his message. So how do you identify a particular angel?
The message.
For their message. So you know this is number 1 because he's got a message. So you know he's number 2 because he's got a different message, because they all look the same. So if he changes his message, does he still maintain his position as the second angel, or does he become a different angel?
Different angel.
So how does that affect what you're saying? Hold that thought, because I want you to answer that. Ellen White says something along this line, bad paraphrase. The first angel's message has to be carried on all the way through time. Yeah? She didn't say it like that, but I'm saying it that way. When that first angel's message comes, or not comes, is doing its work in 1965, what's he saying? What's the first angel saying in 1965 and in 1967 and in 1873? I'm asking you, what's he saying? You don't know what he would be saying in 1965. You have no idea what he would say.
The same thing.
The same thing, okay. The third angel's message, what does he say in October 1844?
The same message is saying.
The same, why does he say the same message? Why didn't he change his message? Why did the third angel say, I'm tired of this message, I want to be given a new one? It's not because it's not accomplished, it's because if he changed his message, he would be a new angel. The angel number is identified by his message. So if we want to get this angel and change his message, you've got to change the angel, haven't you? Someone else had their hand up.
Yeah. Me, I wanted to take us back to the.
First, tell us what your position is.
To me, I think it was the same message.
He doesn't change.
Yeah, because according to the quotation, it's saying, I saw a number of angels conversing with one who had cried, April 19th, Babylon is fallen, and this united with him. This is referring to other angels, united with him who had cried. With him in the cry, behold the bridegroom cometh, go ye out to meet him. So it is the same message, but it's now being given in with another word, but in the same message.
So is the second angel the same message as the first angel?
The second is different from the first.
What's the difference? What's the difference between the second and the first?
The first angel's message is saying, fear God and give glory.
And the second is saying,
Babylon is falling.
So what are they saying?
Beyond the bridegroom.
And what's he saying?
Babylon is falling.
So how can they be the same?
Because the same angel is giving that message.
No, it's different angels.
They are united.
But you said they're saying this. You said he didn't change his message. Did he change his message or he didn't change it?
It is the same angel.
Did he change his message?
No.
So if he didn't change his message, it's a different message. He's got a different message to them. But you're saying they're just the same message.
The language.
The language is different.
Only the language was changed, but it was portraying the same message.
Then I'm going to say the language is different between the first and the second, but the message that they're portraying is the same. And you're going to say no. You're going to say this is fear God and this is Babylon is fallen. Different message. So how can you say Babylon is fallen is the same as Jesus is coming?
Okay, I would argue that here we are seeing different angels, but the first, like 1798, we are seeing the angels coming down, and 1840 we are seeing angels coming down, but they are giving the same message. But here we are seeing this angel, and the other angels are coming and uniting with him to give the message that he was giving before.
Yeah, but when they unite with him in the message that he was given before, you're saying they're saying different things.
Yeah, they're saying different things. They're using another logic now.
If I said that city is destroyed, yeah?
Yeah.
How is that the same message that Jesus is coming back? They're unrelated facts. Why are you saying that they mean the same thing?
Because the same passion is the one still giving that message.
No, it's not. His and them, they're not the same. They're different people.
I'm seeing the second angel, and other angels are coming to unite with him.
That's fine.
It's like
but they're different people.
What?
They're different people, aren't they? They're different angels. He's one angel and they're different angels.
Those angels are coming to unite to give the message that this angel was.
But they're not the same angels. You agree with that? These angels are not this angel.
Yeah.
Yeah? And what they're saying is different to what he's saying. Okay, hold your questions because we've run out. Class is finished. I want to make sure that we're all in agreement on this with some kind of logic, that we can all agree on and walk away with. That we can defend this. Chairs quietly, please. Let's pray. Let's pray. Sorry, Brother Festus, we're trying. Heavenly Father, we ask and pray for a blessing. Please guide, direct us. Help us, Lord, to come into unity so that we can have the assurance and the awareness that you are leading a movement, a group of people. Bless us, we ask and pray in the precious name of Jesus. Amen.